Hi, my name is Dane, and this is a Dayne film. One of the things I love most about film has got to be the film grain. It exists whether you choose color or black and white, as grain is a product of how photographic film is made and processed. And something I've come to understand since starting to use film is what constitutes more and less film grain. So let's start with the basics. ASA, or ISO if you're coming from that world, is a number used to indicate how sensitive your film stock is to light. The lower the number, the less sensitive, and vice versa. The film sensitivity is also directly related to the quality of the grain, because grain is always going to be there. And it isn't so much a difference of the amount of grain, but how fine it is. Slower ASA films like Cinestill 50D or ektar 100 have a very subtle, fine film grain, while a faster film like Ilford Delta 3200 is basically like looking at sand. My favorite speed of film is 400 because I can use it during most parts of the day. The amount of grain is noticeable, but it doesn't lose its subtlety. But if you had a slower speed film and wanted a sizable amount of grain, you could always try pushing your film. Pushing refers to the process of underexposing and then overdeveloping your roll, which increases the overall contrast and that crispy, crunchy grain. I've only tried this once, pushing a roll of Kodak Ultramax 400 at 2 stops. And I see the appeal, but keep in mind if you send film out to a lab to develop, pushing film adds an extra charge, and possibly a longer turnaround time. So I think I'll stick to my favorite way of getting more film grain, and that is looking for expired film. Like I said before, the amount of film grain is related to how it's made and processed. Photographic film, in its essence, is a chemical emulsion sitting atop an acetate polyester type base, and over time, those chemicals become less potent. If you look at any box of film, you'll see there's an expiration date, or a date which they recommend you develop your film by where the chemical emulsion is most potent. Your film won't outright become unusable if it goes past expiration, but it does become less sensitive to light. You can compensate by overexposing your film at one stop of light per decade past its expiration, and in turn, it can add some crunchy grain to your photos. These are all from a roll of Kodak Gold 200 that expired around 1990. It didn't come with a box, so I kinda just guessed. I ended up overexposing it 2 full stops and shot it at an ASA of 50, which seems to have been the right choice. And like all aspects of photography, there isn't one right amount of grain, and it all comes down to preference. Some prefer a fine, more subtle grain, while others lean into it as a way to emphasize the nostalgia value of film. But whatever side you end up picking, just don't add it in post.